When we have finished the reclamation of tea garden and plantation of tea trees, next still need to pay attention to field management of tea garden. During the growth of tea trees, there are several indispensable elements that require special control and attention, including tea garden irrigation, tea tree fertilizer management, and tea tree pruning. Next, let us understand field management of tea garden through a few thinking questions and explanations. Because of the obvious difference between Taiwan's winter season and summer season rainfalls, the irrigation of tea garden is very important. Because tea trees are evergreen trees, moderate irrigation can make tea trees grow normally all year round. However, if there is no timely water supplementation, drought phenomenon in tea garden may be caused, which in turn affects the plucking amount and quality of tea leaves, so we have to pay more attention. Generally, tea garden irrigation is mainly based on pipeline irrigation method, which can be roughly divided into spray irrigation, low-pressure PE perforation irrigation, or drip irrigation. Spray irrigation uses pressure to convey irrigation water to nozzles on branch pipes via piping system and then sprays irrigation water from air to ground. Low-pressure PE perforation irrigation uses water source pressure to convey water to perforated pipes in each branch along master pipe. After the inside of the perforated pipes are filled with water, it will be ejected from the fine holes on the pipe wall. Drip irrigation uses water drip equipment and systems set up on ground surface or buried underground to conduct slow water supply on the ground or under the ground. The advantage of pipeline irrigation are as follows. Please click the screen button to view the details. After browsing, please click the Next Page button to continue the course. High irrigation efficiency. The water can be quickly distributed through pipelines to all places in the tea garden. Applicable to different terrains. It can be applied in tea garden with uneven height through using pressurization or pressure drop to conduct irrigation. Reducing water resource waste. It is easy to control the amount of water delivered and evenly distribute water to each irrigation area. Convenient mechanical operation. The volume of pipeline is small and also can be buried in soil without affecting the entry and exit of other machines and tools. Can be combined with fertilization. The same pipeline can be used to spray organic liquid fertilizer, saving manpower. Although most of the various elements required for the growth of tea trees can be obtained from soil, some elements such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, which are the required nutrients in high demand for their growth, must be made up by fertilization. In addition, due to that tea tree production yield will be controlled by the most lacked nutrient element, so applying too much fertilization will cause nutrient imbalance and waste. As for the amount of fertilizers to be applied, it is recommended to use soil tests to understand the current state of tea garden soil and to understand the nutritional status of the tea tree through tea leaf tests as a reference for applying fertilizers. In addition, should also need to match soil properties of tea garden. For example, tea trees are suitable for growing in acidic soil with a pH value between 4.5 and 5.5. Tea tree growth status. For example, the nutrients required for juvenile and adulthood are different. Climate. For example, it is necessary to apply fertilizer when the soil is wet, and it is not suitable for fertilization when there is a drought or water accumulation. Required amount of fertilizers. For example, adjusting suitable fertilizer amounts according to soil fertility of the tea garden and nutritional status of tea trees, and correct application method. For example, carrying out mulching after fertilization or mixing fertilizer with soil thoroughly depending on conditions. in order to achieve the goal of rationalizing the application of fertilizers. The advantages are that the yield and quality of teas can be improved or maintained without wasting fertilizers, and at the same time, the soil can be protected from being overused or contaminated so that the soil can be used sustainably. As for the practical practices of rationalized fertilization, there are many details to be aware of because of the more specialized knowledge. So it is recommended that if there is an actual demand, you can first visit the Tea Garden Fertilizer Management and Rationalized Fertilizer Application item in Tea Cultivation Techniques and Tea Garden Soil Fertilizers on the website of Tea Research and Extension Station in order to find out relevant instructions and consultation channels which will be guided and assisted by professionals to achieve the best fertilization results. The pruning methods depending on the growth of tea trees can be roughly divided into light pruning, middle pruning, heavy pruning, and collar pruning. Light pruning refers to pruning 3 to 10 centimeters above the pruning last year. Middle pruning refers to horizontal pruning at half of the existing tree height or 45 centimeters from ground. Heavy pruning refers to horizontal pruning at 20 to 30 centimeters from ground. Collar pruning refers to horizontal pruning from 6 to 9 centimeters above ground. Whether the tea tree needs to be pruned depends on the climate and the management needs of the tea garden. In general, the pruning period is about the duration period from winter solstice to great cold, and irrigation is also required after pruning to prevent the tea tree from suffering from drought and affecting growth. Due to high temperature and humidity in Taiwan, and tea trees are perennial evergreen crops, so tea tree pests and diseases may easily become rampant under a suitable environment. Tea tree pests and disease harms can be divided into disease and pest. There are more than 60 diseases. Among them, the diseases caused by fungi are the most common. As for pests, although there are more than 130 kinds, but the kinds of frequently occurred pests are not many. Due to the wide variety of pests and disease of tea trees, generally tea farmers cannot fully understand and identify all the symptoms of pests and diseases. If pesticides or other chemicals are used rashly, the growth and development of tea trees, the yield of tea leaves, and the quality of made tea may be affected, so must take great care. If found that there may be problems with pests and diseases in the tea garden, you can first query the symptoms and prevention methods of the crops in the Special Crops Pests and Diseases section of the Plant Protection Handbook published by Taiwan Agricultural Chemicals and Toxic Substances Research Institute, Council of Agriculture, Executive Yuan. You can also find relevant introductions and advisory channels in the Introduction to Tea Pests and Diseases and Tea Pests and Diseases Prevention and Control in the Plant Protection item on the website of Tea Research and Extension Station. Due to the wide variety of tea pests and diseases, rashly applying medicine may affect the growth of tea trees. Therefore, it is recommended that you can request professionals to assist in the diagnosis through applying for Tea Pest and Disease Diagnosis Operation, so that you are able to prescribe the right medicine to prevent the invasion of tea pests and diseases. After studying the contents of this module, have you had a preliminary concept of the field management of tea garden? Don't forget to do well field management of tea garden in order to make tea trees grow normally.